Hello everyone. Welcome to the 6th of October weekly market updates on technical insights. This Monday morning, Asian markets started trading positively after the US market clocked solid weekly gain last week. The Nikkei 225 index jumped over 4% this morning to hit a new record high after the country ruling Liberal Democratic Party elected staunch conservative Takaichi as its new leader on Saturday, positioning her to become the country's first female prime minister. Chinese markets were closed for the Golden Week holiday, but Hong Kong Hang Seng Index was down by about 0.6% at the midday break after logging almost 4% gain last week. Hong Kong markets have also logged 5 consecutive monthly gains, touching a 4-year high, and that has surpassed the key level of 27,000 last Friday, with expectation of a big breakthrough that will come at the upcoming US and China trade talks, leading to a potential President Trump and Xi meeting in South Korea at the end of this month. Last week in the US, the Dow retreated from record high on Friday and posted a 0.5% gain to end the week up 1.1%. Broad index S&P 500 eked out a 0.01% gain on Friday and closed the week higher by 1.08%. Tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite Index fell by 0.28% on Friday, but was the best weekly performer among the 3 US indices, jumping 1.3% on the week, continuing on the strength of the AI rally. Investors have been overlooking the anxiety surrounding the US government shutdown, which entered into the third day last Friday. The shutdown has exacerbated underlying concerns about US economic health, policy headwinds, and inflation risks with a slowing US labor market. Investors are expecting the shutdown to be short-lived, thereby limiting potential hit to the US economy and the momentum in the bullish AI trade. US government shutdown have not been a market-moving event for the last few years, but that has led to an economic data blackout, and that has blocked out last Friday's important release of the September non-farm payroll report. This lessened the amount of US economic data the US Fed can consider for its interest rate decision coming up at its October 29th meeting, and market largely expect the US Central Bank will lower its key interest rate by 25 basis points, according to Fed Fund futures pricing. It is still unsure if the FOMC minutes scheduled to be published this Thursday, 9th of October, will still be released as planned, but investors should see the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report on Friday. Back to Singapore, our STI index zoomed past the 4,400 level for the first time and formed a new all-time high last Friday at 4,423 points. We started the week on Monday, bouncing off the low from previous Friday at around 4,265 points. For the week, our benchmark index jumped a massive 3.4% or 145 points to close at 4,411 points. This is STI index first positive week in 3. For the week, technology stocks listed on the SGX performed well, averaging about 7% gains last week. Venture, UMS, AEM gained 3%, 7% and 11% respectively on the week. Franken added 8% and AZ Tech Global added 5% for the period, while it also announced that it will provide a third quarter FY25 business update on the 15th of October. But this morning, we heard that AEM Holdings denied allegations of a patent infringement from a US semiconductor firm, and its shares actually dived 9% at the open. So for this week's technical analysis, let's take a look at AEM Holdings. This morning, AEM Holdings shares fell by as much as 9% to a low of $1.85. News reports surfaced that US semiconductor test equipment supplier Advanced Test Solutions has made allegations of a patent infringement against AEM and its subsidiary. Following the news, shares of AEM plunged at 10:50 a.m. and the counter was down by about 9.3% or 19 cents to $1.85. The infringement relates to the US patents involving a specific wafer-level test system. Advanced Test Solution has filed a complaint in the US District Court, but AEM said it does not practice the wafer-level test system in question and that the complaints lack merit. AEM and Advanced were previously involved in an arbitration case that was resolved via a settlement on July 28, 2023. The agreement involved AEM making two payments worth US $9 million and US $11 million to Advanced Test Solution. On the 13th of August, AEM projected that revenue for the second half of 2025 would be in the range of 170 million Sing dollars to 190 million Sing dollars, as a major customer is expected to ramp up production in the late 2025 or the early 2026 period. AEM Holdings said that the latest complaint does not affect its business operation and its revenue guidance for the second half of 2025. Looking at AEM chart now, we noted that in the first half of this year, AEM share price was largely in a downtrend. Shares peaked at around the $1.77 level on the 8th of January, but it slipped downwards, reaching a year-to-date low of $1 on the 7th of April due to the US tariff announcement. After that, AEM share price started to consolidate around the $1.20 level in the second quarter and rebounded in the third quarter to reach a high of $1.74 on the 23rd of July. AEM share price hit a new year-to-date high last Friday. Looking at the key levels, the primary support level could be seen at the 20-day moving average in green here, now at $1.74. And this level is coinciding with the 23rd July high as well. The secondary support level would be the 50-day moving average in blue that you see here, now at $1.62. We observe in the June period, in the August period, and in the September period, the 50-day moving average in blue has provided support for AEM share price to launch a rebound to test the upper bound of the Bollinger Band. Looking at the indicators, the MACD indicator now has a very small positive reading, indicating that there could be little upside momentum with this morning's price drop. The MACD line is now looking to converge towards the signal line, and if a crossover happens, it may indicate the start of a new downtrend, similar to what we see in the August period as well. On the RSI, the latest reading now this morning is at 60-point reading. It came down from last Friday reading of 77 points, which was in the overbought region. This signaled that AEM share price were overbought and due for a technical pullback, at least for the RSI to go below the 50-point neutral reading. So with the uncertainties around the allegations against patent infringement, investors will need to exercise more cautions and wait for a pullback, at least towards the 50-day moving average at $1.62 before accumulating AEM shares again, targeting the year-to-date high at $2.04. And these are the updates that we have this week. If you find the information useful, do remember to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with the latest market movement. And I'll see you again next week in the next Technical Insights.